Hi, this is Steve Spaulding, 30 years old, just turned 30, and I'm currently getting ready for the 2014 North Americans in Pittsburgh. It's been a while since I've been on stage. Last time I was on stage was 2012 at Junior Nationals. It's my first national level show. Ended up getting fifth. Weighed in around I think I weighed in at 229, 230. So I was on the low end of the supers back in 2012. And this year, being 5 weeks out from North Americans, I'm sitting at about 240, 241. So I feel like I've made drastic improvements and definitely more size to compete in the supers. Only being 5'10", it helps a lot being a little bit shorter in the super heavyweight class. But today, we basically did a quick shoulder workout. My shoulder workouts are very brief. I got, minor arthritis in my AC clavicle joint, so I can only do so much. So I usually do lighter weight, focus more on a pump. Sometimes I'll go a little bit heavy on like a shoulder press, but that's primarily it. I do a lot of side laterals. We started off doing dumbbell isolation, one arm side lateral raises to kind of get my joints and everything warmed up. Then after that, moved over to the shoulder press, where I went a little bit heavy for my standards from what I normally do. And then after that, ended up going to I do them behind the back side lateral raises, which kind of hits more of the middle to rear delt. It's a really good stretch on the shoulders, and it actually doesn't hurt my rotator or my AC joints that much. Did a few sets on those, and then topped it off with the pec deck, doing the reverse for the rear delts. And it's pretty much it. My shoulder workouts are pretty basic, to the point. I do very heavy on back movements, very heavy chest movements. So I feel like I'm hitting my shoulders indirectly other points of my workouts during the week. So I want to try to preserve my shoulder joints as the best I can. So, but yeah, just short, sweet workout and to the point. And
what were your?
well, I tried to. I had a few points I needed to bring up after Junior Nationals in Chicago. I talked to a few judges, and they all said I had great shape. I just overall need a little bit more mass. Things I definitely needed was I needed more teardrop on my front quads, a little bit more hang on my hamstrings, and that was big areas that I focused on. Glutes need to come in a little tighter. So there was a few areas here and there. I was kind of told not to press my arms too much. My arms were getting a little dominant. My shoulders were getting a little dominant. So actually, I just recently started training shoulders about 6 months ago. And usually when I do shoulders, I only do it every other week. But, giving that I'm 5 weeks out from a show, the last few weeks I started doing shoulders every week, just to kind of get a little pump going on. My shoulders grow very easily, so I never had a problem there. But one thing I did was I eat a lot cleaner food. I've noticed that, from when I was 25 competing to when I am now being 30 years old, I've noticed a little bit of a slowdown in my metabolism. So I got to be a little bit more conscious about what I eat, what I consume. That being said, in my off season, I still would, on like a leg day, after a leg workout, after a back workout, or after a chest workout, body parts that exert more out of you, I'd stop and maybe get like a couple, plain cheeseburgers or something from McDonald's or Burger King or something like that. No mayo. I'd go home, put my fat-free cheese on. So I still would try to, even though I'm getting fast food, try to eat a little bit cleaner. And the additional calories would help tremendously. Plus, it's kind of a mental break at the same point. But all my other meals throughout the day would be clean, but just large volumes of food. Mainly rice, potatoes, Ezekiel bread, cinnamon raisin Ezekiel bread. That stuff's great. And I just keep it real basic. I try not to. I really don't do a whole lot of pasta. No bagels, no refined carbs. It doesn't sit well with my stomach, and I just don't think it's, those things are that good for you. So I always think, the basic, the better. A lot of red meat. Even right now as I'm dieting, I do two red meat meals a day. In my off season, I'll do up to 3. They're very lean cuts, 93 to 96% lean beef. Or I'll get like a sirloin, and trim the outside fat off and cook it in some macadamia nut oil or something to give it a little bit of flavor. So I think just my food was primarily a big improvement. My training styles, I went back to more like a power building, where I would do, I'd have one week that I would do more, 3 to 6 rep range, heavy powerlifting movements. But I would only do that on my compound movements, such as, bench, squat, deadlifts. I would go heavier. And then the following week on my compound movements, I would do more of a typical bodybuilding type structure workout, like on squats and whatnot, leg presses and hack squats, stuff like that. So I feel like doing a mixture of those things kind of got me back to my roots, and helped a lot through high school. And when I first got out, I was always into bodybuilding, but I did a lot more powerlifting when I was younger too, and I noticed that put a lot of thickness on. And it shows now, going back to what I used to do, the thickness that I have compared from 2012 is very noticeable. And one thing I've noticed that it does is, it seems like I got more of a mature look, more of a harder, denser look than I did a couple years ago. And that's just something that I think comes with age. And as people compete and everything, you get that maturity look. A lot of younger bodybuilders lack that, and then over a couple years, once they start to get that, I guess you could say that Branch Warren dense look, more muscle maturity, dense is what you're going for. So it takes a while to get that, and I think I'm finally starting to crack into it. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. We're all our own worst critic, but I guess that's what drives us. So growing up, I always did sports growing up, wrestling, football. I did track for a couple years, didn't really care for it. In high school, I did really, really well in wrestling. My senior year before wrestling season, I was kind of devastated. I severely hurt my Achilles and my calf and partially strained it. So wrestling was over. I was kind of disappointed. The good thing that came out of it was I still worked out like crazy and wanted to do something competitive. And I always had a local trainer that at the gym, World Gym down in Columbus on the west side, that for a year tried to convince me to do a show. And I just was like, there's no way you're putting those man thongs or whatever they are on me and and getting me up on stage. I was terrified. I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. And the more and more I did it, I think my dad is the one that talked me into it the most. My dad was probably my biggest role model when it came to working out and bodybuilding. And growing up watching him work out, I started training with him when I was 13 years old. So a lot of people will be like, oh, Arnold inspired me for bodybuilding, and Lou Ferrigno, and none of those people inspired me whatsoever. It was my dad. I give a lot of credit to him for getting me in the gym when I was younger and busting my butt to make weight for wrestling, doing all that stuff. I know it was tough love, but I appreciate it a lot, and he's definitely my idol, my hero. But he talked me into it. I was getting ready for a show. Got in a severe bike wreck in October 2003, October 1st, and suffered massive injuries. I had about a 2.25 inch compound skull fracture in my head. My femur pretty much shattered. Had to get that ripped out, and they put a titanium rod in my left femur. So technically, I got a little bit of a Terminator thing going on. I got a plate in my hip. My patella on my left knee is plastic. And then I actually almost lost my leg. They took me to the amputation room, and it was bad. But thank God they didn't cut it off. But after that, I was kind of like, I really wanted to do a show, and certain things I think happen for a reason. So I took what life gave me and decided, what the hell, I'll do a show. So I got prepared. The first, show that I actually prepared for and actually went through with was the 2004 Northern Kentucky, Beverly International Northern Kentucky, and that was in April of 2004. And I got in my wreck in October 1st, 2003. And I remember the doctors telling me that I won't be able to walk for 3.5, 4 months. And 2.5, 3 weeks after my wreck, my grandmother or my dad or my mom would, when I'm in a wheelchair, and then eventually I went to a walker, would drop me off at the gym. And I would go around the gym because just to get my workout in. I wasn't going to be told no. And from that point, I started training from a show. When I got to crutches, I started training for the show. And then about the last 8 weeks before, it was like I healed like super quick, and I felt that I was able to do it, and ended up doing the teenage class, got first. And then in the men's open light heavyweight, I ended up getting third. So, and then did the Upper Ohio Valley about a month later out in Steubenville, or Weirton, West Virginia. I think it was in Steubenville, yeah. And ended up winning the class out there as well. So, and after that, I was hooked, and I was just like, man, this is awesome. It gives me something to strive for, being the competitive person I am. After that, did the same show, the Upper Ohio Valley, in 2005. Then 2006, I did the Cincinnati Championships, won the junior class in that, won the light heavyweight, and then did the 2006 Mr. Ohio, ended up getting second in the light heavyweights, and then took a couple years off, did 2009 Teen Collegiate Masters Nationals, won the heavyweights, lost the overall for the junior division, or the collegiate division. I work at Metro Fitness. I'm independent trainer. I have my own training company, training business. I've been doing it. I've been a personal trainer since 2002. So I've done it a long time. Trained everybody from grandma to competitors. In the last 4 years, I really got heavy into training competitors. And then when the bikini division came out, I picked up a couple people. And then now it's just taken off tremendously. And it's great. I love training people and getting my girls ready for shows. And it can be stressful sometimes, especially when you're around tons of women dieting on restricted calories. They can get a little snappy, and yeah, sometimes they're not the most friendly people, but I love them all. They're great people. They're super nice, very considerate. Being a bodybuilder and having to eat all the time, they don't complain if I got to eat real quick before we train, or they never give me any problems. So very blessed to get my business at the point where it's at. So I feel like it's everything's going good. So.
What's the best way for people to get in contact with you, about your business? Do you have a website?
Yeah, you can go to ssfitnesstraining.com, and you can just check me out. It's actually, I started the website. It's took me a few months to design. I'm not the most smart person when it comes to technology, but I managed to build a pretty decent website, getting some pictures and getting some things up there, and just kind of learning as I go. But yeah, everybody can check out ssfitnesstraining.com, or you can submit an email on there. You can email me at stevefit, STEVEFIT, at Hotmail, if anybody has any inquiries or questions about personal training. So.
Okay. Any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my clothing sponsor, Bigger Than Gods. Just started working with him at the Arnold. Awesome guy, owned by a guy named Dave Anderson. Super cool guy, super nice guy. I mean, awesome tank tops, workout gear, super comfortable shirts, and very blessed to have him in my corner now, representing a good line, a good company. Also, Sportronic Health Research, somewhat of a new company. We're starting to break out mainstream. He's been on the scene for a few years now. Best taste in protein, hands down. And I've been with other companies before, and I'm not just saying that because that's who I'm currently sponsored by. I'm a very blunt person, and I will say it is the best tasting protein I've had by far. We got like a pound cake flavor, and we just had cookies and cream come out. So it's very good. It's doing very good on a lot of the supplement websites. We can't keep it in stock. So very blessed to be part of that company and them helping me with my shows and my sponsorship and all that stuff. Because anybody that competes knows this is not a cheap sport to do. Yep, 5 weeks, and just kind of cruising in. I'm a little ahead of schedule. I'm pretty much ready, except for my glutes got to tighten up a little bit. Just get a little bit more fat off there, and just got a couple areas I got to get some detail. But for the most part, I feel like I'm already ready. So I usually do, Sundays I'll have a cheat day, and I have a warm-up show in 2 weeks. So my coach, Andy Bartolovich, I texted him. I was like, do you want me to do a whole cheat day 2 weeks out from that Kentucky show? And he's like, well, yeah, you need it. So I get to go eat here in a little bit and enjoy some food. Still being 5 weeks out from North Americans, that's the primary goal. But my first show is actually the Kentucky State, and it's in Frankfort, Kentucky. It's a little bit north of Lexington, and it's a good show, small town. We'll see how that goes. Basically, I have to do that to get requalified to do North Americans. So